What up, y'all? What up? As I'm just readjusting my CDs. Today we're going to be going through my Machine Head album ranking. Now, at this point, I haven't had a chance to hear the new album, Unatoned. That's coming out in a couple of days' time. I will be doing a full review of that album, and at the end of that review, I will put that where I think it sits in the ranking. So for this video, I'm just going to be ranking all of the albums up to Kingdom and Crown. So yeah, let's get into it. We'll go through a bit of a band history. Now, I've been a Machine Head fan since the very beginning. I got Burn My Eyes on the day that it was released. I remember seeing the video for Davidian ahead of the release, and just, you know, like so many people, I was just absolutely hooked by that song. Got it on the day of release. I've been to so many shows. I'm a huge fan, but there's no denying that there are definitely albums that are better than others. So we're going to go through those now, but we're going to go for a bit of a quick band history. This is straight off of Wikipedia, no bullshit. October 12th, 1991, vocalist and guitarist Rob Flynn, who is at this point as well the only original member of Machine Head, he attended the Day in the Green Festival in Oakland with he's Machine Head. Metallica, Queensryche, Faith No More and Soundgarden. At the time he got on this festival, he was in a very well-known thrash band from the Bay Area called Vio-lence. But he was kind of getting a bit fed up with direction, and he came up with the idea at this show to start his own band. Later that evening, he asked friend, bassist and longtime Vio-lence fan Adam Deuce to join his as then unnamed side project, which of course became Machine Head. At the point of the band's formation, Flynn had written Death Church and Blood for Blood. Now, I believe that both of these songs had originally been brought forward to Vio-lence, who weren't interested in them. I seem to remember Death Church especially they weren't too bothered about, because it was much more of a slower pace. It's more of that sort of groovy chug sort of thing going on. They weren't interested in it. Anyway, 4 months after the band's formation, Flynn parted ways with Vio-lence after a physical fight between the band members and a local gang. This is quite legendary in Rob's life as well. I remember reading lots of interviews about this back in the day, and he was very vague about it. I guess as the years have gone on and the further we've got away from the events, and it's been easier for him to talk about it. There's some bits on Catharsis, the Catharsis album, which deal with that event as well. But this was a big event for him. Flynn recruited Logan Mader on guitar and the original drummer Tony Costanza. And despite the popular belief that many people think the album was named after the Deep Purple album, apparently Rob just called it Machine Head because he thought it sounded cool. They played their first show at a house party in Oakland in August 15th, 1992. And the band started jamming in local warehouses shared with 4 punk rock bands. I believe Rancid was one of those, because they're really good friends with Rancid. Or it might have been when they were recording Burn My Eyes that I might be thinking about, actually, because I think they recorded in the same place as Green Day as well. Machine Head recorded a demo in a friend's bedroom funded with $800 and a record executive. I don't know if that was Monty Connor. He's usually a name that's associated with most of these bands. Got them signed to Roadrunner Records. They would be on Roadrunner Records for everything up to and including Unto the Locust, I believe, and I think everything after that is Nuclear Blast. Just in case I forget to mention that later on. Very likely that I will. So anyway, let's get into the debut, Burn My Eyes, an absolute classic. Can you see that? Released August the 9th, 1994 via Roadrunner Records. Whether you're a fan of Machine Head or not, this is an absolute classic album. And I believe during the initial recording of this, Tony Costanza left the band and they brought in Chris Kontos to take over. And a lot of this was inspired by the Los Angeles riots of 1992 and a lot of the Waco siege, which is what Davidian is based upon. So yeah, anyway, let's get straight into this. So Davidian, absolute stone cold classic. I think most metalheads know that song. I'll never forget the first time I heard it. It was just literally like, what the fuck is this? That breakdown at the end of the song as well, that dig 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 dig. So damn good. Old is a great song. This definitely incorporates a lot of groove into the sound. There's definitely a Pantera influence in what they do, but they bring a lot more thrash into it, and it's definitely their own thing. I think A Thousand Lies is a great song. I always love that closing bit where everything just starts slowing down in increments, you know, with Rob just going slow, just bringing everything down. Great. None But My Own is a great track, and Rage to Overcome. Death Church is a fucking banger. so damn heavy. There's a bit of a Godflesh influence. Now, a lot of bands were influenced by Godflesh around this time as well, and rightly so. I know that Rob said that he was listening to the Street Cleaner album so much during this. A Nation on Fire, I've always loved the breakdown thrash riff. The actual, you got the first half of the songs, it's very, not a ballad at all, because it's very dark and foreboding, but it's more, more clean instrumentation going on. But when it goes into that thrash riff at the end, oh, so damn good. Blood for Blood is awesome. I'm Your God Now. Realize, realize, realize. And Block, it's just a fucking great, it's just a great album. The bonus track as well on this one is Alan's on Fire by Poison Idea, who are another one of my favourite bands. I absolutely love Poison Idea, they're great. Anyway, I digress. S tier all day. Not only is it an amazing album, the production still holds up to this day, the songwriting still holds up to this day, and for nostalgic reasons, this is one of those albums I remember where I was when I bought it and just listening to it and being absolutely amazed by it. So absolutely fantastic album. There was no way it couldn't go in S tier. Moving ahead to March the 25th, 1997, we get the release of their second album, The More Things Changed. With this album, Chris Kontos, I can't remember if he was kicked out or I think he was kicked out of the band. I can't remember, but he was replaced by Dave McLean, an incredible drummer, and absolutely awesome that he was in the band. I love Chris Kontos. Chris Kontos' style fits the first album so well, but Dave McLean, oh man, what a hell of a drummer. This one, I think they recorded this album a number of times. I remember there being a lot of issues with recording of this album. It got delayed quite a few times. I think Rob wasn't happy with the way it sounded, the performances at some points, and they completely re-recorded it and did it a few times over, I think. But this is a great album. This is a really, really solid follow-up. I mean, the opener 10 Ton Hammer is just, it smacks you right in the face. I saw them on this tour as well. First time I've seen Machine Head a ton of times over the years, but the first time I ever saw them was on this tour with Napalm Death, Cold Chamber and Skin Lab. It was a great show at the Astoria, I think it was. Take My Scars and Struck a Nerve, they're great. There's a lot of hardcore influences on this. There's elements of that on the first album, but I remember Rob was listening to a lot of hardcore during the making of this. And there's definitely more hardcore influences. As a hardcore fan, that's great for me. Down to None is a cool tune. Frontlines is a great song. Spine is a great song. I always love the outro to that one. Bay of Pigs is a straight up thrasher. Fucking great. Violate is dark as all hell. Blistering is the only real song on here that I'm not so bothered about. It's a real shame as well, because the opening riff to this, the intro to this song is great. It's got so much promise. It's like, fuck yeah, so much energy, and then it just kind of doesn't really go anywhere, which is really unfortunate. And then Blood of the Zodiac, I think that's about the Zodiac Killer, if I remember rightly. Really dark, foreboding, kind of almost Slayer-esque. Not as in it sounds like Slayer, but that sort of Slayer talking about serial killers kind of a vibe. Great track. There's a couple of decent bonus tracks on this version as well. But this is a really strong album. There would have been one point where I would have actually put this above Burn My Eyes. I was listening to it so much. Over the years, I don't listen to it as much as Burn My Eyes. Burn My Eyes is still the classic. But outside of Blistering, though, I think pretty much all the songs on this are good. But it goes in A tier. It's not quite up there with Burn My Eyes. Next, released on August the 9th, 1999, The Burning Red. This is a very controversial album. This album would see the departure of guitarist Logan Mader and the introduction of Aru Luster. Was he in POD? I can't remember, but he will be. He's in the band now for the next couple of hours. Well, we'll get to that. I'll go on record straight away as saying, well, I've already said it a number of times actually, so fuck you. I think this is an incredibly underrated album. I really enjoyed this album a lot. There was a great interview that Rob did recently on the Gaza podcast where he was talking about a lot of the things that were going through his head when he was writing on this. Was it 5 and The Burning Red in particular, incredibly dark songs. 5 especially is, for those who know, it's a fucking dark song. But Enter the Phoenix is this kind of... just a kind of instrumental intro piece. Desire to Fire is an interesting track because the opening riff is a riff that the band had been using for years In fact, I think you can hear them using it on the Burn My Eyes tour, kind of like an intro, like their own intro kind of riff before going into their first song. They come out and kind of jam this opening riff. It's an okay song, the rest of it. There's a lot more of the rap hippity hop going on, which has always been a part of Machine Head's sound, but it's very, very prominent on this album. Nothing Left is a great song. The Blood, the Sweat and the Tears. Anyone who's seen Machine Head live, this song goes off live. It fucking destroys. Silver's a great track. From This Day, I think, is actually an underappreciated track. I think it's brought down by the music video. You know, I think we all know that look that Rob had at that time. It's a shame about that video. Exhale the Vial is heavy as fuck. I like the message in the bottle cover. I know a lot of people think it sucks. I like it. I think it's a good cover. Devil with a King's Card is another one that's heavy as fuck. I Defy is okay. 5 is, as I already mentioned, it's a difficult listen. It's a really difficult listen. This is also one of those ones that Rob just didn't play live for a very long time. I think he's only played it maybe once or twice, so I can understand why it's so dark. And the Burning Red is a great closer. I mean, having said that, I mean, Desire to Fire, you know, Desire to Fire, Silver, I Defy, they're the only songs that I'm kind of a bit less bothered about, but other than that, I still think this is a really solid album. I'm not going to put it in A tier, but I think this squarely goes in B tier. I think it's a really, really strong album. I think it's very underrated. I'm just looking at my phone there. That's the lack of concern I have for the viewers. Next up, October the 2nd, 2001, we get Supercharger. I keep looking at the screen, not the thing. This is another controversial album, and unfortunately, with this album, I kind of agree with the general kind of consensus on it. It's not that good an album. I'd love to be the guy who was able to be a bit of a contrarian and, you know, say that it's actually good, but it's just there's a lot of meh on it. You know what I mean? In terms of standout tracks, Bulldozer is a crushing track. It really is a great song. Again, anyone who's seen it live, it goes off with that song. It's fucking amazing. Crashing Around You is an okay song. All in Your Head, I think, is a great song. The Burning Red is very nu metal influenced. This one even more so, but it's just, I don't know, it just lacks something. It's not, it does nothing for me. I don't return to this album much at all, sadly. I'd love to be a contrarian and say that this album means more to me than it does, but sadly it doesn't. I just don't ever return to this album. It's going in E tier. I feel a bit bad doing that because it seems like such an obvious thing, but it's just not a good album. Next up, on October the 7th, 2003, we get the release of Through the Ashes of Empires. Aru Luster would leave the band. Again, I can't remember if he left or he was kicked out or it was just kind of a mutual thing, but he left and we get Phil Demmel joining, who's an incredible guitar player, and he used to be with Rob in the band Vio-lence. In fact, I think he still was in Vio-lence at this point, or maybe he might have been doing a couple of other things. But and this lineup is a great lineup. So Rob Flynn, Adam Duce, Dave McLean, and Phil Demmel would be on the next 3 albums, and they really make some great music together. These 4 together it just works so damn well. Now, there was a hell of a lot of trouble that the band had getting this album made because they got dropped by their record label. They didn't have a record label at the time of initially recording it, I believe, as they had all the issues with Aru Luster. There was a big backlash to the band after Supercharger. A lot of people had kind of written them off, myself included, if I'm quite honest with you. You know, kind of thought, okay, well, maybe Machine Head are just done. But they come back with a banger with this album. Imperium, I'll never forget the first time I heard that song. It was included on a like sampler CD, you know, like Metal Hammer or something like that. And not the first half of the song is just heavy as fuck Machine Head, so damn good, so thrashy and groovy and just aggressive. But then when it gets to that section, the Iron Maiden-esque kind of section is just like, what the fuck? So damn good. Bite the Bullet is a great song. Left Unfinished. Elegy has just got this nasty, really down-tuned sludge riff that's fucking great. In the Presence of My Enemies is great. Days Turn Blue to Grey. I mean, it's a solid album. I say it's a solid album. There's a few songs that kind of, disappear a bit, that I don't listen to quite as much. But I mean, Descend the Shades of Night is such a damn good album closer. There's a hell of a lot to enjoy on this album. This was the album that really brought the band back and got everybody excited for the next album, which we'll get to, well, now. But what am I going to do with this? I think I would put this... I'll put it in A tier. Oh, not C tier. I'll put it in A tier, but behind The More Things Change. It's a solid album. It really is a fucking solid album. So damn good. And that brings us to a big one. March the 27th, 2007, The Blackening. Oh, did you see that? This was... a true return to form. That everything went huge on this album. I think they toured this album for like 3 years or whatever. It's just an absolute beast of an album. You've got 3 songs on it, I believe, that are like 10 minutes long. Clenching the Fists of Descent has this real slow opener. When it gets into the real proper riff, it's such a damn good fucking riff. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, come on, let's go. Beautiful Morning is a great song. Aesthetics of Hate, that was... written about, I think it was a guy called William Grimm, appropriately enough, who wrote an article, something along the lines of Aesthetics of Hate, about good riddance to Dimebag Darrell. So this was Rob Flynn's very passionate fuck you to that guy. Now I Lay Thee Down is an incredible song. Slanderous is I think it's a fucking great song. I know that would get a lot of shit now. There's a lot of language that Rob uses in it, which is all about things that he had been called throughout his life. I could see it being a problematic song nowadays, but I think it's a great song. Halo, Stone Cold classic, another one of the 10-minute tracks. Wolves is just brutal as fuck, and A Farewell to Arms, another really, really epic closer to the album. This is peak Machine Head. This album is absolutely fucking incredible. I love this album, and for me this one goes in S tier, and it goes above Burn My Eyes. I think it's absolutely, it really is them at their absolute peak. Unto the Locust, which we'll get into in a minute, I love that album as well, but this is the band. This album is just the band bang on firing on all cylinders. So damn good. Moving on to September the 23rd 2011, Unto the Locust. I love this album. I remember getting this, and there's just so many damn good songs of this. I Am Hell, the opening track, is... There's so many great riffs on this album. Such great playing. Dave McClain, I've already mentioned, just such an incredible drummer. This would be also the last album to feature Adam Duce. And I do think that did have a big effect on the band. We'll get into that as we go through some of the other stuff. But yeah, I Am Hell, great opening track. Another very epic one. Beast and No is a great track. Locust is the lead single to it. That's probably a song that a lot of people might know, even if they don't know Machine Head, if that makes any sense. This Is the End is a great track. Darkness Within has one of the most anthemic choruses ever. So damn good. Pearls Before the Swine is a great track. And Who We Are, the closer, is such a song of intent. This is who we are. This is what I am. It's kind of an ode to metalheads everywhere, and I'm surprised it's not more of an anthem, actually, to be honest with you. I think it's an absolutely great track. I'm going to be quite honest. I'm actually going to put this up in S tier as well. I'll put it at the back of S tier, but I think this is an incredibly... I don't know about underrated, because I think it is a well-liked album, but I don't know if it gets, I don't know if people like it as much as I do, but I think this sadly is everything after this. There is a decline. That's not to say that it's all bad by any means, but this is the last truly great Machine Head album in my eyes. I remember reading an interview with Rob Flynn where he was saying that he and Adam Duce were the two alpha males in the band. I can't help wondering if ever since his departure, that has an effect on what we hear lately. I mean, obviously Adam Duce was there for, you know, Burning Red and Supercharger, even though I love Burning Red, but you know, there's some questionable choices coming up in some of the next albums. But I do wonder if not having Adam Duce there maybe had something to do. Does that make any sense? You know, leave a comment. Leave a comment. Yeah, great. It's good. It's good. Moving on to November the 7th, 2014. November the 7th is my birthday, by the way. Not 2014, I'm a lot older than that, but, you know. Anyway, Bloodstone and Diamonds. Yes, I've got the special edition of this one. It's quite a nice little edition, actually, this one. I don't know if anyone's interested. I mean, it's got a load of sort of occulty looking shit. That's your thing. Perverts. So, yes, as I said, Adam Duce, the Unto the Locust album, was the last album to sadly feature Adam Duce. This would see the introduction of bassist, what's his name? Jared McKiernan, I think his name, who used to be singer and the rhythm guitarist of a band called Sanctity. This is an interesting album. This is a solid album. I know a lot of people have really enjoyed this album. For whatever reason, I've always struggled with this album a bit. Even though there are some really strong songs on it. Now We Die and Killer and Kings are decent enough. Night of the Long Knives, I think, is actually a really solid song. It's about the Charles Manson murders, if I remember rightly, and it's just got this really fucking great thrash riff that's just fucking, oh my god, so damn good. Sail Into the Black is a great song. Game Over is a great song. I don't know what it is about this album. I find this one a difficult one to return to. I want to like it more than I do, but for some reason I just don't. Like I said, the songs that I've mentioned I really enjoy a lot, but it's for me, I don't really have a great deal to say about this. Might be the same for some of the other ones, to be honest, but this one for me goes in C tier. I know, below Burning Red. I'm sure a lot of people will have things to say about that in the comments, which I'm hoping they'll leave loads as I just check my phone and discard you lot. No one's contacting me. Okay, next we get to a really controversial one, released on January the 26th, 2018, Catharsis. Now, I reviewed this album. In fact, this was the very first video I ever did that actually got a little bit of traction. I had a channel called Free to Be Who I Be, which you can still find, and a couple of months into me doing the channel, this album was released, and I did a review on it. It was the first album, the first review that I did that actually, like I said, kind of got a bit of recognition, and I staunchly defended this album. And I'll be honest, in hindsight, part of that was me being a twat? No. Part of this was me being the fanboy that didn't want to, that wanted to defend his band. Because this one was getting so much shit. All the review channels were just slating the hell out of this album. So I think there was a part of me that kind of wanted to, really, really kind of stand up for it. However, looking back on it now, there are good moments on it, but there's a lot of forgettable stuff on here. You know what I mean? Volatile is a decent enough song. Catharsis I actually think is a good song. Beyond the Pale has a blatant Strapping Young Lad love rip-off. There's no denying that riff is blatantly that riff. But California Bleeding, kind of forgettable. Triple Beam I mentioned earlier about the incident that Rob Flynn was involved with back in the day, with kind of got into an altercation with a gang. This, I think it's Triple Beam. This one kind of documents that. It's not a good song, but from somebody at the time, I remember being fascinated by this song because I was so aware of the incident. There were references to it every now and then, but he never really went into detail. So hearing this was actually kind of cool. Kaleidoscope I actually think is a really good song. Got a real, thrashier energy to it. Bastards is a bit cheesy, but the whole point of it is, the standing your ground and, not backing down. I think it was originally meant as I think it was supposed to be a song dedicated to his sons kind of like, telling, almost like telling them to stand his ground. I think a lot of this was down to the backlash as well that he got. A lot of you will remember the video that he made about Phil Anselmo with the white power remarks and all that, and I think a lot of people, he got a lot of death threats on the build up to this album. So I think a lot of the lyrics kind of deal with that. And looking at it again, there's not too many more songs that really stand out that well. So as much as I'd love to stand up for this album, it goes in D. Unfortunately, there's a lot of very forgettable stuff on here, and even the stuff that is okay is kind of okay, sadly. But this is a really cool edition though, and it comes with a live DVD as well, which is a really solid set list as well. So there's that. And that brings us up to at the moment, their final album, although we will have Unatoned release in a couple of days. As I said, I will do a full review of that when it comes out, but released on August the 26th, 2022, of Kingdom and Crown. Now, this one is much more of a return to, would you say a return to form? I guess it's a return to the more thrashier, more complex sort of metal that we expect from Machine Head. This is a concept album as well, and the band's first concept album. Let me have a read. The concept is set in a futuristic wasteland where the sky is always crimson red and is based around two characters. Character number one is named Ares, or Ares as it's pronounced, and he loses the love of his life, Amethyst, and goes on a murderous rampage against the people who killed her. Character number two is Eros, pronounced Arrows, who loses his mother to a drug overdose and in his downward spiral of depression becomes radicalised by this charismatic leader and goes on his own killing spree and is one of the people who killed Amethyst. And so the lyrics detail how their lives intertwine. Isn't that a lovely word? Intertwine. Lovely. Now this is a return to form, this album. But I'll be honest, I don't necessarily return to this one a huge amount, if I'm honest with you. The opening track is good. There's a few moments in this, and I'll be talking about this a lot more, I'd imagine, in the Unatoned review. There's a few moments where Rob's voice just doesn't sound quite like it used to, and it's the heavier voice. His clean vocals have always been solid, and arguably now I'd say they're as good now as they've ever been, if not better. But there's a few moments where his big boy voice is not quite what it was. But, there's some great stuff on here. Slaughter Martyr is a great opening track. Become the Firestorm. Kill Thy Enemies. No Gods, No Masters. Arrows in Words from the Sky. I mean, it is a solid album. But it's not, again, it's just not one that I really return to a huge amount. I have to say, when I do listen to Machine Head, it is usually Unto the Locust, back. Having said that, I would put this up there with, I'd put this behind Burning Red. Controversial, I know, for some. I think the Burning Red is a great album. So, fudge you. Alright? So that is where I stand on that for now. Of course, yeah, so we've got Unatoned coming out soon. Bit of a spoiler. The first single, what was it, Unbound, I'm not a huge fan of. What was the second one? Bone Scraper. I think the chorus is great. I think there's elements of the song. Actually, you know what? It's the same for Unbound as well, actually. There's elements of it that I really enjoy, and then there's other bits that are just kind of dull. But anyway, I'll do that album properly. So like I said, my album review for Unatoned will be out hopefully this weekend, and at the end of that I will put it into the ranking for where I see fit. But for now, here we go. That's my album ranking, Machine Head. Even though a lot of their later stuff is not so to my liking, they're still a great band. Rob's still a very engaging, charismatic frontman. When they're at their, when they're on form, pretty goddamn phenomenal band. I mean, the Blackening, Burn My Eyes, Unto the Locust. In all honesty, I could quite easily have the more things change, and Through the Ashes of Empires up in S tier as well, kind of as essential albums. But no, I'm sticking with it. I've made my choices and I'm sticking by them. God damn it, you know. It's a bit of a scratch there, isn't it? No, that's fine. Lovely. All right, so we're done. I'm just waffling on now, trying to, you know, end this thing, trying to land this plane, this dull, lifeless plane. You know, I thought I'd be doing better in life at this point. Doing videos about album rankings, other people's art. It's good, don't it? I mean, you know, you need these sort of videos.